Well, he's someone that works with the SEIU on healthcare issues, and as you said, he brokered this meeting yesterday. And at the end of the day, what we see is a group, SEIU, who has a huge stake in the healthcare discussion, being that a significant number of its members are involved in healthcare, is once again in the middle of a dialogue where they stand to gain power, influence, and money by the result.
All right, now let's be fair. The Republicans did this with the big oil, and they had, you know, all the big oil executives. However, I know people who were at that big oil, and the #1 recommendation they came up with was build nuclear plants, but that's a different story. But everybody at the time screamed for transparency. What's going on in these meetings? Here we have SEIU, who we'll get into here in a second, not necessarily the cleanest organization, a union gathering together all of these corporations. SEIU, by the way, is known for their threatening tactics where they go after companies, almost in the way the Jesse Jackson organization used to go and scare companies into doing things. What are they getting in return? They're saying that they're bringing all these people together. They got $2 trillion in savings, but what are they getting in return?
Well, when the government takes a much greater role in healthcare, obviously the role of unions will also grow. Obviously the revenue that they enjoy will increase. Obviously the scope of power that they have will also increase. And I think at the end of the day, when you look over all of these issues, you see that that's at the core of all their actions. When you talk about the Employee Forced Choice Act, essentially unionizing the small business community, you know, in spite of whether workers want to be part of a union or not, it's about power. It's about money. And when you see the way that these union bosses conduct themselves, the way they intimidate and pressure people, you really have to question and be concerned whether this is in the best interest of not just our country, but our economy and the social fabric that brings us together. Okay,
let me go to another SEIU story. This one is coming out of Illinois. The Secretary of Treasury, do you know who the Treasury Secretary in Illinois is?
Yeah, Mr. Janulius, I believe.
Who appointed him?
I don't know who appointed him. I believe he's an elected official, but he's someone that, once again, using strong-arm tactics in concert with the SEIU to achieve a desired result.
All right. So now the SEIU goes to the Illinois Secretary of Treasury and also goes to this suit factory that makes President Obama's suits out of Illinois. And they strong-armed them. They have filed for bankruptcy, and they have strong-armed not the suit factory, but Wells Fargo, and said, you've got to get them money so they can stay open. Otherwise, what?
Well, you know, otherwise, you know, they're using these strong-arm tactics. I mean, sit-ins and pressuring and bullying the bank with regard to a company that's filed Chapter 11. I mean, it's sad to see what's happened to this company, and obviously their workers are in a tough spot. But at the end of the day, this company has filed Chapter 11, and the result of union actions and the increase in wages and the forced negotiations that cut against the employer and against businesses are only going to increase scenarios and situations like what we're talking about today. That's what's going to happen.
Right, and this was the problem that we had, if I'm not mistaken, this is the problem that we had with the banks. This is why we're in this situation, because ACORN pressured the banks. You want to expand, you want to do that. They went into the communities. They caused a stink. That caused these companies to make bad business decisions, and that put us in this situation. Is the guy from SEIU that went and is involved in Obama's suit company, is that the same guy that was involved with the deal with Blagojevich?